Welcome back to the second session. As usual, give a confirmation whether the slide is visible and my voice is reaching it to you or not. Thank you, ma'am. So in the morning session, we were discussing about the structure of our programming language, procedural language, and we came to know that it contains three sections. One is the declare section, second is the execution section, third one is the exception section. So each one will be starting with a keyword, and the declare will start with a keyword called as declared. Execution section will contain our entire logic of our program, and it will start with a begin keyword. Exception will start with an exception keyword, and we will end our entire program with an end keyword and with a semicolon. So we were trying to understand how many different data types are there in PLSQL. So we over here categorize the data types into the four different categories. We categorize the data types into four different categories. So what are these four categories? One is scalar. Scalar in the sense, these data types will be containing uniform values inside it. These values will not be composed of multiple values. These values will be one single value. For example, int x. X will contain single number, right? Single number in the sense, it will not contain 10 and 20. It will contain either 10 or 20. It will be scalar value, single value, right? Whereas if you take a array, it is composed of multiple numbers, right? So array cannot be a scalar data type. Array will be considered as a composite data type. Will be considered as a composite data type. So there are scalar data types, large object data types, composite data types, and like pointers, we have got reference data types. So altogether, how many types are there? Data types PLSQL, four types: scalar, large objects, composite, and reference. In case of scalar, we know that single values with no internal components will be there. We have got data types such as number, date, or boolean. Okay, we have got number, date, or boolean. For large objects, we can have like for example text, which can contain a huge amount of data, textual character based data, or we can have graphic images which are in terms of binary number values. The binary number represents what type of pixel color combination it will contain. It may contain the video clips, or it may contain the audio clips, sound waveforms. Composite data types, for example, can be in terms of arrays. We have got records. Instead of arrays, we have got here records. They are just like your structured data type in C language. Records. And we have got also something called as collections, which will contain a lot of amount of data in terms of list. Reference. These are the pointers to other data items. So, what are those scalar data types? First one was numeric or number. This numeric data type will contain all the data values which are in numeric nature, and these values will specify what type of operators will be working around with it. So these numerical values will usually allow arithmetic operators to be used along with them. What type of operators you will allow to use? Numeric ones, arithmetic operators. Same way, character ones will allow you concatenation type of and some pre-built functions to be used. This data type will be containing alphanumerical values. Will be containing alphanumerical values. That means either you can store numbers or you can store alphabets also. Boolean will contain either true or false. Date and time will represent the date and time for us. Okay. Now, for number, again we have got various subcategories. We have got these many coming up. To just make it easy for you, I have just kept whichever are mainly from SQL part into yellow color. So you need not even remember all these. Just remember what were there in the SQL part. Just you can write it as it is for PLSQL. There is no change at all. Okay. So in case of character, we have got the same thing. Char, varchar2, raw, nchar, and varchar2, long raw, row ID, euro ID. All these were the data types which were available in the SQL part also. So in case of Boolean, there is a small thing that you should understand. SQL doesn't has data type. SQL doesn't has this. PLSQL has it. Okay. This Boolean data type was not there in SQL, it is there in PLSQL. This is again a very good interview question. Many a times it has been asked. So you should be very careful with regard to this Boolean data type. It was not there in SQL, it is there in PLSQL. Okay. So wherever you are going to use SQL statements, in that one you cannot use Boolean data type. Wherever you were having built-in SQL functions, such as toChar or tolower or toupper, something like that, in those also you cannot use Boolean variables. Wherever you are trying to have some functions of SQL statements to be used up, in that one also you cannot have Boolean data type to be used in PLSQL. That's why, as a good programmer's practice, we suggest to avoid usage of Boolean data type in order to get rid of the confusions. Okay. For date and time, almost the same thing which were there in case of your SQL are back over here. You have got individual days to be represented, hour to be represented, minute, second, all those things are possible to be represented using the predefined data. Now for large object files, the same were available in your SQL also, binary files, binary large object files, character large object files, nationalized character large object files. All these were available in case of your SQL also. So what are the user defined subtypes now? Can we define our own data type? Yes, we can say that there is a subcategory of a predefined data type. To define this subcategory, I have given one program for you. Just have a look. Here, char of 20. Character is a data type. 20 characters is a specification given by user. Okay. Developer. Now I am trying to say that this char of 20, just like char of 20, I want to create my own data type. So I am telling subtype keyword. Subtype is a keyword which is used for defining our own type. Subtype is a keyword which is used to define our own data type based on already existing data type. Okay. Subtype, I'm giving the name as name. I'm trying to create a data type called as name is char of 20. Is what? Char of 20. Using this line, I have created a name as a data type, which is a subcategory of character data type, And that subcategory specifies that there should be only 20 characters inside it. Maximum how many characters? 20 characters. Similarly, I am trying to define message as a subtype, telling that this message is a subcategory of varchar2 and it should contain up to a maximum of 100 characters. So wherever I was able to use this char of 20 and varchar of 20 in a normal part, there I can mention them as name and message. So name will represent char of 20, message will represent varchar2 of 100. That's why I have taken a variable called as salutations and given its data type as name. So what will it become in the background? Salutation will become of what data type? Character of 20. Similarly, greetings is another variable which I have taken and I have said that it is of what data type? Message. But what is message actually? It's a subtype of varchar2 of 100. Is it clear now? Now, one simple question. One very simple question. Let me see who will answer it. Why is there a need to create this subcategory of the data type? Already the hell is going around with the data types, right? Already defined pre-built data types. Why again there is a need for this subcategory of these data types? Who can answer it? I'll be quickly waiting for just 1 minute. No one able to answer back. So because there are limitations with existing data types like int CA. Karthik, okay? Any other? Int can store 65,000, okay? So it allows to concentrate any changes to the data types in one location. Okay. Anyone else? No. Both the answers are wrong. Listen here. The reason why these programmers have gone for that subcategorization is, look for this particular line. It is telling what is salutation. Salutation means just like your Mr., Miss or Mrs. or something like that. Sir, madam, something. That's actually a salutation. Okay. So what is salutation actually? It's pertaining to a name. It's pertaining to a particular name of a person. What is greeting? Greeting is a message. It's a wish or a type of prayer in favor of someone, right? So what is actually greeting? It's a message. So instead of writing greeting as a message, if I write it's varchar2 of 100, this will look little odd for the normal English readers who are very peculiar about the English content. They will say, what is this varchar2 of 100? I don't understand. Greetings varchar2 of 100. This is a coded word looking from Mars. For a developer, it is a brilliant language developed from the Mars or Japan or something. We don't know. But for a normal English reader, it looks critical. So, because of these reasons, to give a meaningful representation to the data type, we will try to nickname the data type. What we are actually doing is, we are trying to give a nickname to an already existing data type. The number of characters, the capacities, all are not so dependent. they are not so important for us. If you want to store some huge amount of data type value, you will use a different data type. That's altogether you will shift onto. But to give a meaningful representation to what you are going to write in the code, we will try to use a nickname to it, also called as subtype casting. Okay. So here is one simple program. What is this program going to do is, it is declaring two variables. One is salutation, second is greeting. And it is taking the salutation, initializing the salutation as reader. And it is initializing greeting as welcome to the world of PLSQL. And using a predefined function, it is trying to print hello along with the salutation and the greeting. So this code looks little typical for you people, right? Let us try to understand it here itself so that remaining programs will become very easy for you. Here, this part is clear for everyone. I hope so. The declaration part is clear for everyone, or is there any doubt for anyone in that declaration part? Is the declaration section clear for everyone? Good. Now in begin, what we did is in salutation, is a keyword to nickname this particular message to this particular part. This is a part of subtype casting itself. Okay. Now for salutations, we are trying to tell the compiler that this salutation is a variable of type name, which we have created as a subtype of val of char of 20. It's just a declaration of variables. Salutations and greetings are two variables for us. Now, this is our exact execution block. In the execution section, we are trying to initialize salutation variable with a particular character value, since it is of character data type, and I am telling that the value inside this salutation variable is reader. Okay, this reader or something, miss or Mr. or something like that, you can keep it. But how are we going to initialize? Have a look at the operator that we have used for initialization. We are not using equal to here, we are using colon equal to. In case of PLSQL, equal to is used for comparison. Equal to is used for comparison. There is no double equal to. There is only single equal to for comparison operator. Colon equal to is called as assignment operator. Is called as what? Assignment operator. So whenever you want to assign a value to a particular variable, we will use assignment operator, and it is colon equal to without any space. Clear? Now, for the greetings variable, I am assigning a value welcome to the world of PLSQL. Here I said in the third line that using a predefined function, we are trying to print hello with the salutation and the greetings. So let us try to understand this line. dbms underscore output is a package which is going to contain a lot of predefined functions for displaying the data onto our SQL star plus. Okay, SQL star command prompt, whenever we wanted to keep any data onto it, whenever we wanted to display a message to the user, just like printf, we have got put underscore line. Just like printf, we have got a function called as put underscore line. This put underscore line has been defined in a package called as dbms underscore output. Has been defined in a package called as dbms underscore output. And whatever you give as a parameter for this put underscore line, just like how a message is given for a printf function, similarly, we'll write hello, which is in single quote. That means it will be printed as it is on the screen. Instead of plus symbol in Java, we have got here two pipe symbols. Okay, those pipe symbols will be just present above your enter button on your keyboard. With your backslash, it will be above the using shift, you have to use that particular part. Shift and backslash button will give you the vertical pipe symbol. So instead of symbol, we'll use two pipe symbols to concatenate this particular message with the value of variable. Okay, so it will be hello reader, and we are also concatenating it with greetings variable. So greetings variable is containing what type of value? Welcome to the world of PLSQL. So on the screen, what will be written? Hello reader, welcome to the world of PLSQL. This syntax you need to remember. Again, I'm telling, put underscore line is a predefined function just like your printf, which is present inside a package called as dbms underscore output. That's why we have written dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. And then instead of plus symbol as that of your Java, we have got here pipe symbol. Two pipe symbols will represent, without any space, will represent your concatenation operator. Will represent concatenation operator. Okay, with the end and semicolon, we are closing our program. Now this forward slash will tell the compiler that the program has been finished typing, start the execution. To start the execution, we use slash symbol, forward slash symbol. It's actually a call to the interpreter, PLSQL interpreter. Okay, so this is the part which will be written on your screen. I hope this program is clear for everyone. Is there any doubt in this particular program? Good. So, can anyone tell me if I want to write a particular program? Let us say I want to write a particular program for addition of two numbers. What is the code that is to be written? First thing, let us first write the three sections that we need. We don't have any exception handling, so we are not using that exception. Third section is not being used. We need at the end a slash for execution, right? So in the declare, we are writing a program for what? Addition of two numbers. So we require any variables? Yes, we do require variables. So let us write those variables. Let us say a number of, let us say, 3 digits wide. B number of, let us say, 4 digits wide. It became 30. Why do we need such a big number? We need another variable, let us say sum. Let's not call it as a sum, let's just call it as C. Let's say 5 digits wide. Is there any other thing that we require as declaration? No. Right? So in the begin section, we have to initialize the values. So I'm thinking A is equal to 10, B equal to 20, some dummy values. Again, habituated with Java programming. C equal to A plus B. Now dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. I want to print a message like this. I'll just keep it down. The sum of 10 and 20 is 30. At the end, I should get this particular output. For this, I know that 10 is present inside what? Variable A. 20 is present inside what? Variable B. Now their summation is kept inside what variable? C. So here I want this particular message to be printed as it is. Right? So I should include it in single quote. From where to where? Till here. I'll include it in single quote. Now to attach it together, append them, I have to use pipe symbol. In pipe symbol, single quotes because I wanted to have and to be printed. And again pipe symbol because I wanted to have the values to be printed there. Again pipe symbol, single quotes because I want this is to be printed. Again value. But here I'll not write 10 directly, I'll write the variable name A. Here was B. Here was C. Understood with how I am writing this particular part? So I'll just copy it back there. So our entire program will be of this nature. That's all. Is it done? Now how do we save this particular file and how do we compile it? In order to save this file, you have to go with save as. Your file name you wanted to give, in whichever folder you wanted to give, you can keep that particular folder name. Just I am giving double quotes so that exact file name will be used. Some file name you can keep, let us say trg1 dot, just like dot java was used, here dot sql will be used. We'll use what? Dot sql. Save it. Let us jump for the directory. This was already created file, so I'm just deleting that one. This is our actual file which is containing this program. Now how do I compile that one? To compile it, I have to first invoke my SQL command prompt. Run SQL command line. This is my SQL star plus. I have to first connect onto the database because without connecting to it, nothing will work. Let us increase its content size. It's visible to all, right? Now first we are connecting it. So can anyone remind me what password we kept earlier? First. Admin, very good. With a single quote and A as capital or small? Admin, right? Correct. There are two ways of doing it. One is at this point, connect system, you can press enter. And it will ask you for entering the password. Or else you can keep a slash and type the password here itself. Okay, so there are two ways. But this second way is not suggestible because it will reveal the password to the your shoulder peoples. Anyway, I don't have any secrecy in my database, so it's not as important as learning. So I just kept it open. So now how do I compile it? To run this particular program, we have got two choices. One is I can copy all this program and on the command prompt, just right click or your command prompt. The program will be typed on. Since we have already included Since we have already included this slash, it has already told the compiler to compile it. So the compilation has also started here. It is giving an error here at line number 9. Encountered the symbol C when expecting. Okay, we did not kept the symbol here. So let's again keep it. Procedure, PLSQL procedure successfully completed. What a weird answer. I was looking for the sum of A plus B is so and so. It is telling procedure successfully completed. That's why we call this box as a stupid box. It doesn't does unless and until we say it to do it. Here we said to do it, but still it is not doing. The reason is whenever we are interacting with the output devices, Oracle will close off certain ports which it thinks are unnecessary. Oracle tries to act over smart and it has closed the connectivity between the PLSQL engine and the output monitor device. So we need to set a particular variable so that that particular connectivity buffer will be reallocated. So we need to have set server output space on. Remember this particular command which we are typing here, set server output on. Unless and until you type it, the output will not be visible to you. Okay, once the server has been set it as on, just right click and paste your program. It has given me the output here. The sum of 10 and 20 is 30. Okay, I have got one more choice. I can start typing the program here itself. Declare a, let us say, number of, let us say, 3, begin. Let us initialize some value into just a dummy program, just to show that we can type the program directly here itself. Now let us try to put that dbms underscore output dot put underscore line the value of variable a is now as soon as I type slash here, it will start compiling it. Got the output? So what do we mean by that? We have got two choices. Either you write it in a particular file and try to copy all the content and paste it back into your command prompt, or else you can type the command or the program back again over here. But do remember, if you press the up arrow button, it will take you for the previous lines which you have typed. But here it will become very difficult for you to check for if any error happens, to modify that code and again type it back. It becomes very lengthy. So always, as a good programmer's practice, we suggest to write it neatly in a particular notepad file, copy the content and paste it back into that particular folder, into that particular command prompt. Okay, this is two ways of doing it. There is another way. There is another way. The way is, once you have written in a notepad file, saved it with a particular name at a particular folder, just get back to that folder, command prompt, press @ symbol, no tab, get back to the folder, drag and drop that particular file. What I did, pressed at the rate symbol, drag and dropped that particular file. So once I drag and drop it, it will take all the path for that particular program. Okay, press enter. It gave the same output back to me. Just give me 2 minutes, man. I'll be back again. You people just go through what we were trying to understand here. I'm sorry for that particular disturbance in between. There was an important call, so I had to interrupt in between. So in this particular program, is there any doubt how to compile and execute it? If you have got any doubt, please raise it out, ma. It's clear? Okay, thank you. So we have seen the three ways of compiling a particular PLSQL program and executing it. But do remember, without this slash being there, /, your program will not be executed. Your program will not get executed. So you should be very cautious. Second thing, you should always have this set server output on. Once check it, if this particular set server output on is not set it as on, this server output is actually the buffer name, which we are going to make it as enabled. By making it as setting it as on, we are actually enabling it so that there is a buffer allocated between the output screen and our PLSQL program engine. Okay, so those were a few of the things that I wanted to just show to you how to execute and how to run that particular program. Now let's get back to the nulls in PLSQL. Just like your SQL, null was used for representing missing values or unknown data. Here also they are used for representing missing or unknown values. But they do not represent integer or character or any other specific data type values. That's why null values cannot be compared with either an integer value or a character value or any other value except null. Null cannot be compared with any other thing. Okay, so in case of our C++, we came to know that null character is \0, and many will think that this \0 is actually the null. No, in your C++, null was different. Null was your \0. That was null character. Here this null is a literal and it is not the same as that of \0. This is again an interview question. Null can be assigned, but it cannot be equated with anything, including itself. Okay. So we are going to go with another data type for user-defined nature, which is percentile type, which we'll be seeing shortly. Then we'll be having a look at the PLSQL blocks. Then we'll start defining the anonymous blocks, variable declarations, all these things. So here, suppose how much time is left out now? 10 minutes are left, maybe 5 minutes more are there. So we'll try to see it quickly. So imagine you have got already a table created, and in that table you are trying to have some variable to be used so that the table data can be read. Just as an example, I will say somewhere we had one example program. Yeah, let us see. Let us say there was some employee table. And in this employee table, there was some employee ID. And I wanted to read this employee ID's values into my own given variable name. Okay. Now, if I want to read the values from this column, employee number or employee ID, into my own given variable name here, then these two values data type should be same, yes or no. Should their data types be same if we wanted to read those values into this variable? Yes or no? First of all, got my point, what I am asking for? Here I am trying to read what is the value present in this column, and I am trying to store it back into this particular variable. So when I am trying to store the column value into the variable, should the column's data type and the variable's data type be same or not? We can have conversions. Okay, one said no. Anyone else? Percent. Okay. Pujita says yes. Anyone else? Lavanya says yes. The answer is both the column and the variable data type should and must be same. Then only we will be able to read those values. Or else both should be compatible. Compatible in the sense, suppose this column data type was number of 3. This variable data type should have been number of 5 at least, or 4 at least, or 3 at least, but not number of 2. Getting my point? Now, can we get to know what was the data type used while creating that particular table? Can we recollect? If we are the developer of that particular table as well as the PLSQL program developer, then we can know about that particular thing. But if we are not the developer, how can we get to know that particular values? Got my point? If we have developed that table as well as a PLSQL program, we can tell what are the data types used over there. But that too, if the table was created 10 days before, can we recollect what was the number of 5, 3, 2, 1, what was it? It becomes difficult, right? So instead of that, PLSQL says a very simple thing. If you want a similar data type of already existing tables column, then no need of remembering all those things. Just use percentile type. Just use what? Percentile type. This percentile type attribute is used to declare a variable according to a database column definition or another previously defined variable. So you need not remember all those things. Just what you need to do is, here you wanted to create a variable called as v underscore name. This is a PLSQL variable which you wanted to create. Give it its data type. You're not mentioning the exact data type here. You are mentioning the table, EMP table, dot column name, whatever columns data type you wanted to replicate for this variable with percentile type. If you attach this percentile type,